6 guys, 3 sports, no leash. This is the Unmuzzled Sports Podcast. Football, hockey, and baseball the way it's meant to be. Loud, raw, and completely unfiltered.
Look at these handsome gentlemen. My goodness. Episode, yeah, take a look, Walter.
Is there 2 guys on screen? I can't see.
Well, there's a whole bunch of people in the backgrounds of Schenker and mine, so maybe I was talking about them, but episode 8, Unmuzzled Sports Podcast with Ian Schenk, Brian Hawley, and I'm Gary Ray. My goodness, we've got a lot to fit into this show. Just starting with my background, folks, if you don't already know, I'm a huge Michigan fan, and this Saturday is the game. That's what it's known as in college football. Ohio State brings their number 1 ranking to the big house. Number 1 Ohio State versus number 15 Michigan. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in End Zone and Fantasy. But fellas, good to see you. How was the weekend?
Good, really good. And I'm telling you right now, if you missed any of the football on the weekend, I feel bad for you. You just had to tune in from either 3 to 4 or 6 to 7 to get the full effect.
Right.
And yeah, I'm not a Sabres fan, but I sure do like Buffalo ahead of the Leafs right now.
Yeah, I've gotten a few texts about my Leafs being in the basement in the East, which we're going to be talking about as well. But Halzer, we'll start with you. You've got some breaking news coming out of the baseball world, the local baseball world. What are you hearing, brother?
Well, the IBL is no longer the IBL after 105 or 6 years as a league. The IBL is
Intercounty Baseball League.
Yes, which is the old senior league, which is semi-pro, depending on what you want to call it. But all your teams, the Toronto Maple Leafs baseball version, Panthers, Guelph Royals, Welland Jackfish, et cetera,
Stratford Hillers.
Formerly anyways.
Right,
and,
yeah.
They are going full pro now. And I tell you what, it's really, I know that it's a popular following. I've been part of the league in several different capacities over the decades. But I mean, every paper in the region, every social media site is just blowing up. I mean, every single fan of the league is coming out of the woodwork and putting their 2 cents in on this. So the Cribs Notes version is that they are going fully professional. They're going to make several changes. Number 1 is that they're going to have actual contracts instead of all the rumors and what have you about guys getting paid under the table or just, given phantom jobs or whatever. Now they're going to have actual contracts. There'll be a salary cap. I believe the number is $120,000 per season or about $30,000 a month. That seems a little bit light to me, but I mean, you're going to pay more to some guys and less to others, I guess. And so, but there's other kind of sprouting sidebars going off of this story, and the fact that, one of the big parts of the league is the 22U or junior players that are called up to fill in shortages, to fill out rosters. Some guys are actually good enough to play already. And I'll give you a great example of Blake Jacklin, who played for me 3 years ago with the Kitchener Panthers. And he was our leadoff hitter. He was the best leadoff hitter in the IBL. He was a great left fielder, had a great arm, ran the bases with absolute reckless abandon, was leading the league in stolen bases, was in the top 10 in hitting, top 5 in hitting, and then had to get up and leave second week of August because he was off to East Tennessee State, ended up batting 2-hole for them, and just this past year ended up playing in the College World Series. So guys like that aren't going to have a spot in the league anymore because they have to sign a professional contract. And if they sign a professional contract, they're no longer amateur. They lose their amateur status and they can't go back and play at school. So there is all of a sudden a really big collection of really good players that have nowhere to play all of a sudden. So immediately after this, there's conversations about where are all these teams going to go? How is the junior loop going to be affected by all this? And then immediately today, there's already discussion about a secondary senior loop, like the old senior intercounty is what they used to call it before the IBL was a thing. And it was just, intercounty teams, Brantford, Cambridge, Waterloo, Kitchener, Stratford, etc. And there'll be other teams that want to be part of that as well. The level of baseball being played in the junior loop, if they're not in the IBL, the level of playing junior is going to go due north. So there's a lot of sidebar stuff going on here. Ticket prices, I'm told, are going everywhere from 0 increase to 50% increase, but still under $20 for a seat. The season extended from 42 to 48 games. At this point, they're not looking at anybody for expansion. And the other big news is the change in the playoffs. Now, it's long been kind of a giggle at the IBL when they had 8 teams, that all 8 teams made the playoffs. What was the point of a 40 or 42 game regular season? So when Chatham came in 2 or 3 years ago, then suddenly the 9th place team was the only one missing out in playoffs. So it put some relevancy into the regular season. Now they're changing to top 5 only, making the playoffs. 4 and 5 will play like the old wild card game in the major leagues, a 1-game play-in to join the other 3 teams in the semifinals, which will both be best of 7s. So huge news for IBL fans and baseball fans in general. Yeah. The other big story is that the import number is going from 5 to 8. And so when you think about the Raul Gonzalez's and the all the great Dominican and Cuban and Latino born players that are up here, and that's just Kitchener. When you look at Davey Menzies up in Welland, their stopper, he's unbelievable. The dude throws mid-90s. So there's guys all over the league. Kitchener picked up a couple of good ones last year as well. So that number is going to go from 5 to 8. Everybody's going to get paid. The junior players have been gone. And so the level of baseball should be fantastic. And it's supposed to start this year for the 2026 season.
Like, I wonder though, Halser, like I get it that they don't, if they sign a pro contract, that makes them ineligible, but it's kind of laughable with the NIL contracts they have now given to, the pro athletes, guys making $5 million, to quarterback teams and stuff. And so even though they're technically not pros, they're getting $5 million on a name, image, likeness contract. So it'll be interesting if a team tries to circumvent being on a pro contract and on an NIL contract, but we'll leave that, for another discussion. But huge.
Well, it might be splitting hairs. Sorry, Razor. It might be splitting hairs here, but I think that the guys are getting their $5 million NIL payments for playing for the college team, not for somebody else. And that's probably where you might find the difference here.
Right.
Well, my only thing is these teams like Welland, Toronto, Barrie, teams that have deep pockets, are they going to push the little guys like Brantford, maybe Kitchener out of the league?
Well, to be honest with you, the bigger concern with Toronto is the fact that they don't charge admission at Christie Pitts. I mean, it's a diamond sitting at the base of a pit, literally.
Yeah.
And everybody comes and walks off the street and sits on the hill. They bring their own beer. They, bring their own food, and they sit there and they watch baseball. So 2 questions. Number one, how are you going to get, how are you going to become financially viable for $120,000 salary cap when you're not getting any venue revenue? So the other thing is, number 2, I guess, is will the people of Toronto actually pay for the product after getting it for free forever? And number 3 is, will they follow Toronto if they move to another diamond, say in, I don't know, Mississauga sounds good to me.
Right.
It's west of Toronto. There's lots of good diamonds there. There's playable diamonds on the other side of Toronto in Ajax and Whitby. So if they have to go somewhere else to play in an actual diamond that they can charge money to get into, that's going to be a huge question mark moving forward for Toronto. But I agree with you, Shanker, like Guelph as well. Kitchener, are these guys, they're minnows as far as income is coming in. And, are they going to be able to survive this? I sure hope so. There's new owners all over the place now. Hamilton's got the new owner. Terry Smith has bought the Brantford Red Sox. The new owner that I forget his name now, but he owns the local basketball team in Kitchener has bought the Panthers. And
Oh,
so
okay.
there's a few teams now that have new ownership. So who voted for it, and are they willing to dig into their pockets and take what'll probably be a loss for the first year or two?
Yeah. Well,
Good stuff.
like Rob Butler and Rich Butler, unless they got deep pockets, I can't see them wanting to keep forking out money. But
well, if they voted for this, then they'll have to do it. But if they voted against this after having only bought the team 2 years ago and knowing that they paid somewhere around $1 million for it,
Really?
Exactly.
that's that's the other thing too now is that they've set a price on expansion and they want $1 million for an expansion team.
Crazy.
Because that's
Well,
what the Leafs sold for.
Keep us posted with these details as they break, Halser. We also got to talk about another Toronto team, unfortunately. The Leafs that are officially now the worst team in the Eastern Conference after their debacle this past weekend, losing to Montreal. They're now 16th out of 16 teams with a 9-10-3 record, 21 points. The Buffalo Sabres are even a point ahead of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So in their last 10 games, they're 3-5-2. And outside of Nylander and Tavares, nobody has double digits for goals. You've got Nylander has 10. Tavares is having a great year. He's got 12 goals, but Matthews has 9, but he's been hurt for a chunk of the season. Goaltending, it's been horrible. Like, it starts there. Stolarz has played 13 of the games. He's got an 884 save percentage. I'm hearing a lot of rumblings that people shouldn't be pointing the finger at the team. They didn't create the team. They're pointing it at Kyle Dubas and Brad Treliving for putting the team together. And you know what? I can't really argue with it. You look at the third line that Treliving put together, Nicholas Roy, Dakota Joshua, and Matthias Maselli. The three of those guys have combined for 7 goals in 21 games. Like, it's just not good enough for a third line. The other lines need help. So what is a really crazy, weird stat, though, that I found is that the Leafs are actually scoring more goals this season without having Mitch Marner on their team than they were a year ago. They're on a 108 point pace last year. Or they had 108 points last year. This year they're on an 82 point pace. But when I saw that they were actually scoring more goals at this point without Marner, it was unbelievable. The problem is they're giving up more goals, almost a full extra goal after 22 games from a year ago. But I know you two guys are grinning. But what have you been seeing and hearing about the Leaf implosion?
Go ahead, also.
Okay. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, we mentioned a week ago on this program that they were leading the Eastern Conference in goals scored. And that takes some real, that's a challenge. That is a really big challenge to lead a conference in goals and yet have the worst record in it. I mean, so I'm going to give them a 20% pass because they're really banged up.
Yeah.
They're having trouble keeping their defense healthy. Nyes is hurt now, right? Is he not?
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah, Tanev's a huge loss on.
Tanev's out, and of course Matthews has gone out,
right.
And the goaltender got hurt too, right? So, at the end of the day, boo-hoo. There's lots of teams out there. Look at Montreal. Montreal's getting hammered with injuries as well.
Yeah,
and yet
they were off to a great start.
And I'm not sure. I didn't watch a whole lot of that game Saturday or whenever they played Montreal and Toronto.
Yeah,
I think it was Saturday. I didn't watch a whole lot of that, but it looked like, the Zamboni was loving it because they only needed to flood one end of the rink.
And Wool actually played well. Like, you can't hang it on him. Now, the fourth goal, it was kind of soft. I forget the Montreal player that came out and roofed it over Wool. That's the way they play, right? Butterfly style. He dropped to his knees, and they shot it right over his glove shoulder. But
hey, this could be a good thing for the Leafs. They're on a 6-game road trip. So get away from Toronto, get away from the negativity. And I know they got tons of injuries. It sucks. And the problem now, my thing is Matthews, if he gets kind of healthy here, does he just want to sit out a bit more and not risk coming back?
Well, it's going to be interesting, when he comes back, because, I love Austin Matthews, but he is not like a captain that is willing to say, look at guys, jump on my back. Like the guy that's stepping up right now is John Tavares. Since they've taken the C away from him, he's the one who has stepped up. It's almost like as if he's playing with the house money now, right? Like,
Exactly.
he's now making a lot less money. He doesn't have the pressure of having the C on him, and he's having like a career year. So hopefully they turn it around.
I like Matthews. I think he's a great player, but he's weak. Like he's not strong. He just doesn't look interested in playing in Toronto, but he signed an extension, which I don't get.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to keep monitoring that. So,
yeah.
I think there's an irony that finally now John Tavares is offering good value for his contract.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
hey, he has no pressure, right? No pressure. Show up to the rink every day. Do your job.
He's one of those guys that has put his money where his mouth is. He reminds me of Connor McDavid, where he's put his money where his mouth is and says, I'm willing to do my part. You guys do your part. Go and get us the guys that we need to get us over the hump. And so John Tavares, he is not going to face any booze or venom from Leaf Nation. The way that he took a pay cut, the way that he's playing his ass off. It's these other guys like Nylander, even though he's statistically doing okay, there's some games where he looks disinterested, like you said, like with Matthews. And those are the guys that are going to feel the wrath. But let's move on. Let's get some sponsorship information for End Zone and Fantasy. And we'll get into that. We also got to talk about our trending sponsorship as well. So we'll go back to back.
This trending segment brought to you by Best Western Plus Arden Park Hotel, located at 552 Ontario Street, Stratford. Located steps from the Festival Theatre, while offering first-class accommodations with an extensive range of services, including conference center, banquet facilities, and heated indoor pool. End Zone and Fantasy, brought to you by TNT Security Inc., where security meets reliability. Call Todd Schmidt today for a security quote on your concert, dance, sporting, and alcohol event, business, property, or mobile patrol security.
All right, we're back here with End Zone and Fantasy. No need to reintroduce it. They're calling it the game. Michigan hosting OSU on Saturday. I think it's a 12 o'clock start, if I'm not mistaken. But Michigan currently leads the all-time record 62, 51, and 6. And Saturday is going to be the 120th meeting of these two Big Ten powerhouses. Michigan's on a current 5-game winning streak. They went into the shoe last year down in Ohio State as 19.5-point underdogs and took down OSU 13-10 in an upset win. And Shanker, you and I were talking about it before we came on air, and the Ohio State players did not like it how the Michigan team brought out their flag and pole and stuck it at center. And the Ohio State football team ripped the flag off and things got heated. The state troopers had to separate everyone. But I don't know if you guys have seen any of the reels that I've been putting on our socials, but a lot of it's been Ohio State, Michigan based, and just it's two of the most hated teams. Like, they just hate each other. I don't know if there's a more intense rivalry, definitely not in college football, but maybe in all of sports. But what do you two guys? You guys are kind of neutral. Shanker, what are you thinking about the big game?
Well, I'm just gonna say this: paybacks. You know what they say? Payback's a bitch. And if I had to, I'm a betting man, and I'm gonna put my money on Ohio State. They
Why
are
wouldn't you?
they're such a superior team this year, and they've been ranked one from the pretty much to get go for a reason. And if Michigan doesn't keep it close for half the game, it's over. They got to somewhat just stop them, keep them to a field goal here and there, and they got to score when they have a chance, or else it's going to be a blowout.
I remember last year after Michigan upset them, and all Ohio State did was go on a heater of all heaters, and they went undefeated and ran the table en route to the national championship. And they didn't just win; they dominated teams. So that lit a fire under their behinds. So it's going to be interesting. But
Michigan's had their number the last 3-4 years, so you never know, right?
The last 5 years,
Yeah.
Michigan's won. So Michigan's ranked number 15 right now. They're a 10.5-point underdog. And if Michigan doesn't win, then they're out. They're out of the college playoffs. So if they win, then they probably have a good case to jump into the top 12.
Yeah.
Ohio State, on the other hand, they're in no matter what happens in this game. The thing is, though, is that they're going to fall out of number one, and it just depends if they lose. It depends how far they're going to fall. If they fall out of the top four, now they don't get that first round bye. So it's got huge implications. Even though it doesn't knock OSU out of the playoff picture, they have to play possibly an extra game by not getting that bye. The top four teams get a bye, and then the next 8 have to play in the first round. So
I don't think they won't drop past number 4. I don't think.
You never know. You know,
But
it'll
it
depend what teams behind them do, right?
Yeah.
Like Indiana, Texas, and Georgia. If they all win out, then who knows? Oregon. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
For sure.
But what do you think of that matchup, Halser?
Well, I think Michigan's doing well to be where they are, considering we've mentioned before that they, I believe, led the league and led the Big Ten in new starters.
Yeah.
So the turnover that they were looking at, this is supposed to be a developmental year. And when you add to that the fact that, as far as I'm concerned, there's Ohio State, and then there's everybody else, man. They're on they could beat probably 5 or 6 NFL teams with that defense. They're unbelievable defensively. So I guess the only question I got for you, Razor, is like, what are you going to do in the second half? Because there won't be much of a game to watch, I don't think.
Well, I just hope Michigan's defense can hold them, because let's face it, Ohio State hasn't had any adversity. Everyone was talking, I think, Schenker, to answer your question, Ohio State, I think they started out number 2 in week 1.
Yeah.
Texas was number 1 when they went to Ohio State to play. And then
that game was like 10-7.
Yeah.
So,
there wasn't much going on. And then you had Manning got a nice TD in garbage time when the game was already out of reach. But other than week 1, Ohio State has been running the table on teams, but they haven't really had much adversity, I don't think. So it's going to be interesting to see if Michigan's defense can get under Ohio State's skin. And you're right, they got the best D in the nation, Halser. Let's face it, let's call it what it is. And
Well, I remember a few years ago when my kid was at Western playing for the Mustangs, and they never had any adversity going through either. And the reason for that is that all the adversity that they faced was in their practices. They were such a good practice team, knowing that they didn't have anybody at their level that they were going to face. So they made sure they pushed each other. And that seems to be the kind of program that they have at OSU. That, I'm just so impressed with them. They're as good a team defensively as I've seen in quite some time. I can't think of a defense that really stands out as much as this team does. They can go side to side. They can play you deep. They can put 8 in the box and go single coverage and be okay defensively. They got all kinds of guys that can rush the quarterback. Their linebackers are sideline to sideline players. Just a complete defense, not dissimilar from the old Baltimore defenses with the Ravens when Ray was playing.
Oh yeah, Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
So quickly, just going through the rankings. Right now, the top 4 teams: Ohio State, they're at home, they're on the road in Michigan. Number 15, Michigan. Indiana, they're at Purdue on Saturday. Texas A&M, this is another big game. They're at Texas, who's number 16, and they're not even going to make the playoffs. Georgia, they are at home to Georgia Tech, who's ranked number 23. Then you get into the next echelon. Number 5, Oregon. They're at home, or they're at Washington. Ole Miss, they're at Mississippi State. Number 7, Texas Tech. They're at West Virginia. And then going down, you had Notre Dame had a beating on Syracuse, 70-7. And my goodness, you don't see too many times where the offense of Notre Dame, before they even hit the field, they were up 21-0. So, but
Exactly.
yeah, Notre Dame's at Stanford. Alabama, they're at Auburn for the Iron Bowl. That's got big implications. And then number 12, Vanderbilt, they're at number 18, Tennessee. That's another huge implication game. So it's going to be interesting, folks. College Saturday is coming to a pinnacle this weekend, and it's going to be really interesting to see how all of this all plays out. Let's jump into quickly some NFL news. We got to go all the way back to Thursday, and the Buffalo Bills just laid an egg there in Houston last Thursday. Let's face it, the Bills will not be competing for a Super Bowl, unfortunately. They're just too beat up. Their defense, their linebackers, they can't tackle in space. Halser, you're up on all of those guys. Their linebackers rank second to last in yards per carry and missed tackle rate. Like, it's when you've got Band-Aids on guys, and you said it best there a week or two ago, you don't even recognize half of these names on the Bills defense, do you?
And 2 more starters go down in the second half of that game. Bernard, the linebacker,
Yes.
who's the better of the 2. I mean, Milano, whatever's left of Milano, he's been so banged up over the last 4 or 5 years. And now Bernard's out as well. Good thing they got, and that's the irony, is they just got Shaq Thompson back in time for Bernard to go down. And then they lost Taron Johnson as well, probably their best cover corner, after losing Taylor Rapp, who was then their best cover corner. So they've got 4 guys that are out for the year. They've got 3 more that are out till they get back. I haven't heard anything from Bernard. It's his shoulder. Those guys are psychos. They'll play with one arm. They don't care. He'll be back at some point, especially with the long week from Thursday. But I thought they actually played okay in the fourth quarter. They gave Buffalo's offense a chance. But I don't know, man. I got nothing. I got nothing on that offense. That is the number 1 rushing offense in the league, and got 120 yards out of Cook.
Yeah.
And still only scored 1 offensive touchdown. Now, I got to say, if you haven't watched the Houston Texans play before, how fun are they? I mean, my kid was a D lineman, so I always focus on that area of the football field. And when you got Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter on opposite sides, man, that is probably the best D line in all of football. And my God, they're beasts. They're absolute beasts. I think they split 4.5 sacks, sacked Josh Allen 8 times, which doubled his sack total for the year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I mean, just a dominating performance, and it ended up getting an injury to Spencer Brown, the right tackle as well. He was in and out. He's messed up a pec muscle, I believe. And so when you've got a backup at right tackle and 2 of the better DNs on the other side of the field, that was plus it's been the Houston Dome down there is to the Bills what Tampa Bay's Horror Dome is to the Jays.
Yeah.
Buffalo cannot win in Houston. They
cannot. I don't think Allen has
them.
won in Houston, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think that goes all the way back to the lost playoff game about 5-6 years ago.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's just, it's getting kind of tight now, which Shinker and I were talking about that briefly, cheering against the Jaguars. That's what it's come to in the Bills season, where you're hoping the Jaguars lose so Buffalo can stay in a playoff spot.
Well, speaking of playoff
there's
spots,
3 teams at 7-4.
yes. Yeah, you've got so right now, let's get into the AFC. You got the division leaders. You got New England at 10-2. They're going to win the AFC East. They're on a 9-game winning streak. You got Denver in the West. They're at 9-2. They're on an 8-game winning streak. Then you got Indy in the South. They're 8-3. They lost on Sunday. And you got Baltimore, who has now entered the picture. Everybody had Baltimore for roadkill, but luckily Pittsburgh stumbling and bumbling, as Chris Berman would say. And
that's what you get when your grandfather's playing quarterback for them.
Yeah, and he's got a fractured left hand. But they're now leading the North, the AFC North, at 6-5. They've won 5 in a row after a 1-5 start. Then you get into the wild card. You've got the Chargers with the first wild card. They lost on Sunday. They're at 7-4. Jacksonville's at 7-4. They're on a 2-game win streak. And then you got Buffalo at 7-4, who lost against Houston on Sunday. But in the hunt, you've got Pittsburgh at 6-5, Houston at 6-5, and KC at 6-5. So it's really tight in the AFC.
Hands up, everybody who thought Kansas City was going to beat Indianapolis on Sunday.
Yeah, right.
I picked them. Holy mackerel! They just
and then you get into the NFC. We've got the Rams are all of a sudden running away with the NFC. They're at 9-2. They're on a 6-game heater. Philadelphia, even though they laid an egg in Dallas on Sunday, they're still leading the East 8-3. Chicago, they're leading the North with 8-3. They're on a 4-game heater. And then you got Tampa Bay, they're stumbling. And now you got Baker Mayfield, who is my number 1 QB in one of my fantasies. Luckily, I've got Sam Darnold as a backup, but I'd rather have Baker at full health. And, who knows what's going to happen with that left shoulder. They're leading the South at 6-5, but they've lost their last 3. Heading up the wild card, you've got Seattle at 8-3. Green Bay is number 2 at 7-3-1. They've won their last 2. And then my 49ers are in the final wild card spot at 7-4, but they've got their own turmoil with Brandon Ayuk. I just can't show up to a meeting. So the 49ers voided $27 million in guaranteed money to Brandon Ayuk. And it looks like they're going to try and unload him. Like, he signs a $120 million guaranteed contract and you can't show up to team meetings or practices. Like, are you out of your mind? But whatever. In the hunt, you've got Detroit, surprisingly, on the outside at 7-4, but they got Jahmyr Gibbs, so he's a beast. Having him alone gives you hope. Carolina 6-5, they won on Sunday, and then you've got Dallas re-entering the picture, and everybody had them as roadkill after week 4. They've won their last 2. I got to say it. I hate the Cowboys, but Dak Prescott is probably one of the best regular season quarterbacks in history. He's terrible in the playoffs, but regular season fantasy stuff, you want to have him. He is lights out. And when you've got George Pickens, like, CD couldn't hang on to anything Sunday, and you've got Pickens just lights out. Like, did you see that catch when he jumped over the 2 Eagles defenders and he brought it down? Like, just a circus catch. So lots of things heating up in the NFL. But what do you want to say, Schenker?
Well, American Thanksgiving this Thursday. I'm hoping the Cowboys can get a win over the Chiefs. But other than that, I think the Cowboys are all smoke and mirrors. They're not going to make the playoffs.
Absolutely. They don't have a running game.
My concern with the NFC is the Eagles. Barkley doesn't look the same. He's fumbling. The Eagles have scored 255, but they've given up 225. That's not like them from last year. So they're my worry in the NFC right now.
Well, you've got selfish AJ Brown. Like, the guy is all world talent for a wide receiver, but he's probably the most selfish guy in the league. Like, what are you doing when your team's at 7-3, leading the NFC East, and you're complaining about your lack of targets? Like, seriously? So what do they got to do? They got to get the owner to talk to them, and then they got to change their plans. And good on Devontae Smith. He just goes, whatever, throw it to me, don't throw it to me. If you got to throw it to AJ, whatever. So, good on him for keeping his mouth shut and being, the consummate teammate that AJ Brown will never be. So, but Halser, any final thoughts before we move on to buzzing with Clarko? Or?
Well, I tell you what, I mean, nobody's talking about the Rams in the context that they should be, as far as I'm concerned. That defense is probably the best in the NFC, right up there with Seattle. The difference is they've got all kinds of weapons. Stafford's looking like an MVP, a real live MVP candidate at his age, and I think it's great on him. The weird thing going on there from a fantasy standpoint is Nakua's red zone targets have all but dried up. They really have. Adams now is
Devontae Adams has sucked
will
it all
only
up.
get 6 or 7 targets compared to Nakua's 12 to unlimited. But when they get down in the end zone, they go to Adams.
Yeah,
and that's been frustrating for me. Nakua was the number one wideout in football for the first month or so, and then all of a sudden they hit Adams, and then they hit Adams again, and they hit Adams again, and all of a sudden Nakua still gets double digits points, but he doesn't score anymore, and it's a really weird thing. Meanwhile, the Rams just go rolling merrily on and may not lose again this year.
Yeah. One quick story before we go. November 22nd, last Saturday, was the trade deadline in all 4 of my fantasy pools. And one guy, and he's arguably the smartest guy that I've run across in fantasy. He's always near the top. And he came knocking on my door. He was offering Puka Nacua, and I saw through that smoke and mirrors, because Adams is getting all of the targets now in the red zone. And so he wanted a first for him too, which on paper doesn't sound out of line, but I just saw through it that Adams is getting, most of the targets, like you said, Halser. So I thought about it, but politely declined, and I'm glad that I did after watching on Sunday. So. But all right, we're going to hear from Nick Hishin Mortgages, and then we're going to bring in our Warriors, and I was just about to say Lincoln's insider, our Warriors insider, Jason Clark.
Buzzin' with Clarko, a weekly roundup of the Stratford Warriors with Jason Clark, brought to you by Nick Hishin of Indy Mortgage, the independent mortgage company serving customers from coast to coast with access to well over 50 lending options available. Give Nick a call, as he works for you, not the banks. FISRA license number 12403.
All right, we got Clarko in the house. Clarko,
Gentlemen,
how are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
Razor, is your closet like at Sport Check? Every week you got a different team on.
Every week. Depends what the theme is, Clarky.
Yeah, I get it. I guess so.
Right.
Very good. All Michigan all week.
Right. All week. The game, right? We don't even have to say who's playing. We just all know. But
yeah, for sure.
I should, if you want to find out anything about Michigan, just hang out with Dave Griffith this week. He'll bring you up to speed on everything that's going on with the game. So
yeah, I'm sure he's game ready right now.
Oh yeah. If you ever Scrooge, Griff, all the boys, it's always good fun to be watching games with those guys. So if you've ever been to a Bills or a Michigan game with Griff, it's like you've got a 16-year-old kid having the time of his life. It's just such hilarious to watch. So
yeah, I can imagine.
But you look at Shanker was saying about Mark Strauss, how young he looks in that picture. That's 2011. That's before Jim Harbaugh went to Michigan, and I can't even remember who the quarterback was, but Michigan was huge underdogs. and they upset Ohio State, and the crowd ran onto the field. The
Right.
guy in the picture it looks left, but it does the reverse. The guy in the red shirt, Jeremy Pike, he used to be a bank manager at the Royal Bank before he got married and moved over to Dundas. From behind, everybody thought he was an Ohio State fan, and we're going, dude, like, why would you wear that Team Canada jersey of all days? And he's like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Hilarious.
Find a Waterloo Ravens sweatshirt or
Right?
something. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got
Exactly.
Jeremy Pike, Mike Vancia, Matt Cooper from the Tim Hortons, Chris Vredeveld, myself, and Dr. Strauss, Rio Thompson himself. So
Yeah.
good times. So huge weekend. We keep saying this. We don't want to jinx it, but my goodness, 4 points out of 4 points. Like what we're seeing with the team. You have the St. Thomas Stars in town on Friday night, and tell us what you saw there.
Yeah, another great weekend. Bit of a track meet Friday night, 7-5 for the final. But thankfully, we came out on the right end of that for sure. What was really good to see was some scoring from our back end. You know, I think we have some really offensively talented guys back there, and have struggled a bit to score, I guess, if I can say they're struggling. I think they're all playing well, but it was nice to see Kurt and Haji and Will Coward all get on the board with their first goals of the season.
Amazing.
So that's great to see. Anytime those guys can chip in and get that first one out of the way, and then it just kind of loosens them up, right? And then Joe scored again on Sunday, and Coward had a huge assist on the overtime winner. So real good to see some scoring come from our back end. And that St. Thomas team, I think I talked about it a few weeks ago about how much improved they are and what a great team they are with speed and talent. And it was, you know, I best describe it as a track meet. Every time we thought we had a bit of room, they're right back. You know, 3-1. I think we had them early and felt pretty good. And then bang, it was 4-3 them, you know.
Yeah, in a matter of 2 minutes and 23 seconds, they went bang, bang, bang. Now, let's face it, it wasn't Bender's best game of the season, and he'd probably be the first one to say that. He made 2 great saves when you guys were down 1-0 in the first period. I thought he made 2 great right pad saves right underneath you. And I said to the guys I was standing with, and Dano and Billy, and I said, wow, those are big saves. Like, being a former goalie, it just lifts the rest of the team up. And he made those 2 big saves, but then, like you said, they got the 3 quick goals there on you guys when you're up 3-1 in the second. Surprisingly, a couple of them went by. The one went post and in, so it was just a perfect shot. But the tying goal, I think he wished he would have had back. You know, that was one that he probably should have had. Just went like a foot over his pad by his glove. But all in all, you know, you guys got the 2 points. Like you said, a lot of firsts for the 3 guys to get their first goals of the year. And you outshot them 34-31. So you guys keep doing that. I like your chances. Yeah,
we keep putting lots of pucks in the net, right? We haven't had any problems with that this year for sure. And it was good to see Kipfer get on the board again. Jack McGurn scored a really nice goal too. Really quick hands, net front. Evan Arnold made a real nice play to him. And then Jonas banged in a couple of his own. A great shot from the slot where Lucas Menard came down the wing and found him as a late trailer there in the slot
right
as
in the
well.
Slot.
So,
Great heads up pass by Menard. I thought, and then you don't want to leave Jonas all alone there at the hash marks all by himself.
No, for sure. He doesn't miss there very, very often. It's either off the crossbar and into the netting, or it's under the crossbar and into the net. So, he's pretty deadly from there.
You're right. McGurn had that roof right over the St. Thomas goalie's glove. That was a beautiful shot too. To tie it 4-4. So you get the 2 points on Friday night, and then Sunday you had Stratford Rockets in town. You had some big competition. I hear NFL football is popular on Sunday afternoons. So
Yeah, there was about 40 people in for a warm up, and 20 of them were wearing Strathroy jerseys, and 20 were wearing Stratford jerseys. But we ended up with a decent crowd for a Sunday afternoon. I mean, it's an off night for us, traditionally playing the Friday nights, but
yeah,
with the league and other teams having Friday night home games, we have to throw a few alternate dates in there. 7 o'clock at night and Sunday night doesn't really work because, a lot of the kids and families that like to come, they're in bed or winding down for bed, getting ready for the work week or school week. So we were able with the city to get a time at 4:30 in the afternoon, which is it's a decent time. I mean, you get a late supper, etc.
yep.
If you're don't have anything going on, but we battle the Blue Jays when they're playing, and we battle NFL football while it's going on, etc. But the board is able to do a good thing and get Timbit games scheduled in the first intermission there.
Oh, nice.
So we had 4 Stratford Aces Timbit teams in. So that brings in a bunch of kids and their parents in for a couple periods for sure. So that helps with the crowd. And but another game where we were playing hit the post, it felt like for a long portion of that game, and not taking anything away from Strathroy. I mean, they made good on their chances, and I think they're on a 5 or 6 game winning streak themselves, so they came in playing well. But we just continued to rifle pucks off the post and crossbars. You just, I think we were talking on the group chat here. It's a game of inches. Some nights when you think about it. But again, we were getting lots of chances. I think we got, close to 40 or 50 shots again on Sunday. And Max Wildfong came up 2 beautiful goals. He scored. And like I said earlier, Joey Curtin chipped in and got us on the board right away with a little jump down the slot and poked one in past the goalie in a bit of a scramble.
Yeah, Curtin got his second, and then Wildfong got the one in the third to put you guys up 2-1, and then he got the OT winner as well. Great. You had mentioned before, Coward had a great pass off the glass for a breakaway. I was watching the highlights. It seemed like you guys controlled, he scored 251 into overtime. I think for 250, you guys had the play in their end, just playing keep away. Yeah. And then they really didn't touch the puck at all in overtime.
Yeah, they got the puck once and made a rush down the ice, and the guy that carried the puck down the ice for them took a shot on net, and Gage was able to hold that for a face-off. And then it might have been right off that face-off, actually, if I remember correctly. Yeah. The old glass and out, a typical play, we run 5-on-5, but the guys were able to connect there, and Max has got, besides his great hands and the hockey ability, he's got great feet too, and Coward made a real nice play getting it off the glass and out there. So
yeah, that was nice to see, because you were texting us, and when you guys were up 2-1, and then I quick looked over while I was watching football, and I'm like, oh no, they just tied it up. And then thankfully, Wildfong was able to get the OT winner.
Yeah.
You get 4 points on the weekend. You've got the Waterloo Siskins coming to town on Friday night, and then you guys go to Pelham, who's currently 4th in the East. And what do you know about them at all? They're you've got Cambridge running away with it, but then you got St. Catharines with 38 points, Fort Erie at 26, and Pelham's got 24 points. Have you heard much about Pelham? Or?
Yeah, well, other than they're really, really improved over the last couple seasons. Former NHLer Zach Ronaldo coaches them down there, and I think he does a really, really good job with them. If you remember Zach Bell, he played for us, and we moved him last year, and Zach ended up in Pelham and was real happy there. And I know they were real happy with Zach, so I think they're doing a real good job working their way back, and they're obviously doing things the right way and have some players playing the systems that Zach's trying to get in play down there, and they're making their way over in that Eastern Conference. So
yeah,
I would expect it'll be a tough game for us to go down there. They play in a nice big rink, and the long bus ride our guys aren't really used to. I mean, we do go to LaSalle and Chatham, but Sunday afternoon it'd be probably an early or late AM departure here for us to get down there.
Right.
for 12:30, 1 o'clock probably. And then, but Waterloo Friday night, that's going to be a real tough game. You know, we've been beaten by them twice this year, once in a shootout and once in overtime. So, you know, they've been really, really tight games. They have fantastic goaltending, really skilled, hard-working group over on that side too. So, you know, we'll do our best to right the wrongs, if I can say that, for the two losses we have against them this year. We've got 2 points against them, but we'd love to get another 2 and keep this going here Friday night.
Yeah, according to the power rankings, and we always have to disclose, we're taping this on a Monday night, but folks, these are from last Tuesday, November the 16th. You had Cambridge at number 1. There was no change. Elmira was at number 2. They move up 1. Chatham was at number 3. They move up 1. St. Catharines was at 4. They move down 2. And then St. Mary's was at 5. They moved up 1. They're going to, with their weekend, they only got 1 out of a possible 4 points this weekend. They'll move down after that. And then you guys were at 6, where you had moved up to. So you guys are going to be rising. It's going to be interesting when the results come out tomorrow morning to see exactly where they have you guys in the power rankings. So
yeah,
looking forward.
We'll see where we are. Go ahead, Shaker.
I was just going to say, like, if you guys only play in 19 games, your win percentage is .763. It's third best in the West. Like,
yeah.
Flo's power rankings, they should be taking that win percentage, saying, hey, Stratford's only played 4 games less. They're the third best team in the West. Give them some respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll
and
see.
Like I said, they don't factor in the 2 games that were just played this weekend. So it'll be tomorrow morning, Tuesday, November 25th, we'll have the up-to-date. It's just unfortunate with us taping this on Monday nights. We don't get those power rankings until 12 hours later, unfortunately. But, yeah, you've got Chatham in first. Good point, Shanker, like 100%. Stratford's played the fewest games because, like we had said before, you guys got a late start at the beginning of the season with the Erie Otters game. And then you guys down in Bowling Green, so you're going to make those games up over the next couple of months. But Chatham's in first in the West with 39 points. Elmira at 37. St. Mary's is in third at 30. London has 30. And then you guys with 29 points with 5 games in hand on Chatham. So it's going to be interesting. Just quickly, over in the East, you've got Cambridge running away with it. 46, St. Catharines 38, Fort Erie 26, and Pelham at 24. So once you get past the first 2 teams in the East, it tightens up a little bit there. So, yeah.
It's going to be a battle. Yep.
It is. It's going to be a good litmus test. And the good thing about it is that, you know, you guys are rolling along. You know, it's not like as if you're playing all bottom feeders. Like, you know, St. Thomas is an up and coming.
Yeah.
You've got Waterloo. You've played them tight. You beat Chatham a couple of times. Like, you guys are on a roll. It's just, you know, you got to, obviously everybody knows you got to peak at the right time there in the spring, but keep her going, Clarkie. And
yeah, I think, you know, the thing for us, I've talked about it on here before too, I think, is, you know, you really want to have under 10 losses by Christmas time if you can. And if that's the case, you're probably in a pretty good spot. And then you just do a little bit of fine tuning before the trade deadline on the 10th of January. And then you have a month, you know, to get ready for playoffs and playoff positioning. So, you know, it's pretty early to start talking about playoffs, but we've had a good start through, you know, we got one more game to get to 20 here, but you know, for the first 20 games, we've had a really good start, and I like where our group is at. I've said that multiple times here, week after week. And, you know, the league is super competitive, so anything can happen. But, yeah, we continue to put up 4-point weekends. We're putting ourselves in a really good spot. So we'll see what happens. We've got another 2 real tough games this weekend coming up, so we're looking forward to a good week of practice. And we're healthy, which is really good too. That helps out. You know, we're not chasing the injury bug or anything like that. So we'll just keep it going here in Stratford and see if we can't get some more points this coming weekend.
Excellent. Well, good luck with Waterloo and Pelham this weekend. And as always, pleasure having you on. Thanks for taking the time, Clarkie. Jason Clark, Director of Hockey Operations with the Stratford Warriors, will be back with Chester's Perch and Chris Chessel. Thanks, Clarkie.
Thanks, boys. Take care.
You can't put a price on a good time. Chester's Perch, the Lincoln's Report, brought to you by the Boathouse Stratford, located at 30 York Street. Come see us down at the Avon River for pedal boats, kayaks, canoes, Juliet boat tours, and bike rentals. Enjoy great food and ice cream at the Riverside Patio Restaurant. Pet friendly and operated by the Her family since 1965.
Yes, guy. Chester's in the house. Rocking
Good
the
evening.
AC. How are you, dude?
Good. That maize and blue looks good on you, Razor.
Well, go blue, right?
Yep.
I don't know if you heard Clarkie. He was saying, holy shit, Razor, like, you got a Sport Check outfit in your bedroom there? Like, I bet you I've probably got 30 jerseys, like, just from over the years. Yeah.
Our house is the same.
every game that I go to, I always try and pick one up. So
Yeah, that's good.
I was down at the big house there in 2011 with a bunch of buddies, and 114,000 people at the big house. And
Gotta love it.
yeah, Michigan beat Ohio State, and as you can see, the crowd ran onto the field. So good times.
Oh, that'll be a heck of a game.
Yeah,
Always is.
yeah, looking forward to it. So
Second best rivalry in sports.
yeah, what do you think the best one is?
Oh, it's a no-brainer. North Carolina Duke.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I thought
But
you were going to say Montreal.
football-wise, that's pretty darn tough to beat. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. They basically call that, like, they just call it the game. And I was telling the guys off camera before we got going, it gets so bad. I was looking on social media from last year, like they alternate the games. Last year it was in Ohio State. And they hate seeing the letter M so much that any sign on campus, they put a red X and tape over the M's, like over any signage, whether it's in a building, in a parking lot, anything that has an M, they put a red tape over it. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Love it.
So,
right on.
Well, you guys had a tough weekend. My goodness, 1 out of a possible 4 points. Let's start off with Friday night. You guys went down to Listowel, and did you lay an egg or did you just get outplayed, out goaltended? Tell us what happened on Friday in Listowel.
Well, I made my third or fourth trip down to Listowel, and I'm still 0 for in the win column on my trips to Listowel over the last 3 seasons. So it was definitely laying an egg is how I would describe it as well, Razor. Really, right off the first draw, you could just tell the energy wasn't there. Listowel too, they didn't come up flying in the first either, but it was 0-0 after the first. It was fairly even in the first, but I just, you could just tell our guys, weren't 100%. There's a couple different reasons for that. We'll get into that maybe a bit later, but definitely not the game or the start they wanted. On the positive side, Vaughn Barr had a fantastic first period. We had 2 penalties in the first, and he saw quite a few pucks, and he had a great first period and kept us in that game. Unfortunately, things went sideways pretty quick in the second. The Cyclones came out and got a quick one, and ended up being 2-0 after 2. We didn't get a sniff in the second, really. We had 2 decent opportunities, both off the crossbar. If those might have went in, it might have been an interesting game at that point. But all in all, Listowel carried the play for the largest percentage of that game. And then another quick goal early in the third, late in the second, and then we were down 3 going into the third, and then they got the dagger pretty early in the third. Ethan Kowach for Listowel, he played solid in that. The chances we did get, He was solid. We hit him in the
Highlights
chest a
I
lot.
saw were really good. I saw Lacko. My God, I like this kid. Just watching him on highlights. I haven't seen him live yet, but he had a nice feed to Reddy, who was stopped point blank by Cowich. And then Lincoln Moore rang one off the post at 2-0 in the second. That goes in. Now you guys are at 2-1. Different ball game, right?
Yeah,
And,
that's just it.
And then Weir, he had a nice saucer to Alzinga, but Alzinga couldn't get it off quick enough, and Couch was able to get over and then snare it. But I would imagine he was like the first star, if not the second. But he had the highlight reels that I saw. Listowel's goalie Ethan Cowich, shout out to him. He had a
played
game.
well.
Shout out.
Yeah, he played. Yeah, 28 saves for the shutout. Great game for him. Again, not our best effort. Unfortunate after going down there the week earlier, winning 4-0. It's a tough turnaround to get that kind of an effort. But they're teenagers. Halser's always good to say, oh, they're teenagers. So,
did you go down, Halser, or what did you see?
No, I didn't go down. So I was listening to Seymour on the radio, and just what Jess said, just a lack of energy. That's a disturbing thing. They are teenagers, and we always cut them a little bit of slack. But you never saw this last year, and the further we get into this season, the more you realize how spoiled Lincoln fans were last year. Like, those guys never took a night off. And when they weren't at their best, then Spagnuolo or Lee would score a shorthanded goal, and they'd end up coming back and winning the game. So they still got some stuff to figure out. They were 0-for-6 in the power play for the weekend. That's still a sore point. Annoyingly inconsistent power play. They can go sometimes looking really good, just bang, bang, bang all over the place, but then sometimes they have trouble just with their break-ins. And so, to Clarkie's point earlier on in the program, you're working on stuff until Christmas. Christmas, you're starting to accelerate toward the playoffs, but up until Christmas, you're just working on some things, and I'm sure they'll get it figured out.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good analogy by him. You keep your losses to 10 or fewer at Christmas, and then you just want to do a bit of tinkering until the trade deadline in mid-January. So you guys are doing fine, but it's unfortunate that you go all the way there to have an off night, Chester. What happened in Elmira? They didn't lay an egg in Elmira. You lost 3-2 in overtime. You got a point at least. You outshot Elmira 37-30, and Calhoun stopped 27 of 30. What did you see there?
Yeah, much better. That's the response the coaching staff and the management was probably looking for. I'm pretty sure they got a pretty good earful Friday night. They came out, they responded, and all in all, they took it to Elmira for, again, a large percentage of that hockey game, which was fantastic to see. We went down there really early in the season. Might have been the third or fourth game, and we beat them 5-2 on their ice. And I said on this program a few times, Elmira is really, really good, and they're going to be there right to the finish. And I was a little surprised when we beat them 5-2 earlier in the year, because I didn't think we were playing at our best at the time. And this time around, I was expecting it to be a much tougher game, and it was. But I was proud of the way our kids responded from Friday night's game, and they was one shot away from stealing that extra point. And of course, it was former Lincoln who came down and got the game winner in overtime, Kyle Morey. But he's having a heck of a season with the Sugar Kings, right? I think he's got 30 plus points right now. So
we shouted him out last week, and he still got the winning goal on it. So that's it. That's it, Morey.
It's your fault.
Shout outs for you, kid.
They loved it on the GOHL Fans and News Facebook site. Here we are giving shout outs to Kyle Morey on opposing teams. So, and then people are like, oh yeah, right. He used to play for the Lincolns. So
yeah,
but
good game though. Like, the Lynx have the best PK in the West, which I didn't know that until I got some stats. And the Sugar Kings do have the best power play in the West Division. So it was kind of a nice mix there to see, because there was a few opportunities for both teams to, we took a tough 5-minute penalty there in the second period. Ended up being a knee major.
Yes. Yeah, I saw
and
that.
that one hurt us. They scored there to tie the game at 2, or was that go up
That
3-1?
was McMillan got the knee.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that put the Kings up 2-1. Sorry, yeah, put the Kings up 2-1. So yeah, that was unfortunate. But Oliver Lacko, he had 2 for us last night, and he got the second one there in the third to tie it up, which was great to see. And yeah, just and again, we controlled the third period too. I thought the majority of the play was us. Like we were bring it to them, and we had some chances in tight, couldn't get the puck in. Reed Strauss played really well in the Elmira net. So yeah, all in all, get that 1 point. It's very important to do. We needed that 1 point, and I think it's just good for the kids after that loss Friday night. It's a good bounce back game building up to the next game, which is going to be no walk in the park. So we're looking forward to that.
Well, you announced it there on last week's show, and that reel went viral. People are loving it that you were calling out the Red Hawks, that if they come to town still undefeated, that you guys would be more than happy to burst that bubble. And you know what? People got to realize that we're saying it in fun. We're not saying it in arrogance, right? It's all in good fun. Obviously, we all are aware that Cambridge is the cream of the crop right now in the GOHL. But it's just in good humor. And so it was funny reading some of the comments. There was a Cambridge fan that took exception to you calling them out. But shocking. But yeah, it's going to be a good game. You got the Red Hawks. That should bring a lot of people to the PRC Center. And looking forward. I would love to be there, but I'm going to be in Stratford watching the Siskins Warriors game. So I'll definitely be catching it on, I'll maybe see if anyone's got Flow. I don't have a Flow subscription, so we'll have to get that on someone's phone and watch it during the Warriors Siskins game. So
I'm going over Razor.
Are you heading over, Schenker?
Yep, I'll be heading over.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting.
Pressure's on. Schenker in the house, man.
Right?
The pressure is on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Keep Rhett away from Bertuzzi.
Well, he's already got him eyed up. Don't worry.
Oh, that's a weekly thing. I stand about a section away from the visitors' bench, and he's got the same problem with his steering as my truck had. When I went by a casino, it just draws to the left. He loves to see the coaches walk by and introduce himself, so to speak. So some of the guys take it pretty well. Some of them don't know whether to shit or wind their watch, to be honest with you.
Well, when I see the highlights from St. Mary's, I can see you standing there in your Lincoln's jersey and then Rhett beside you. So it's always entertaining. But
well, he had the horn out last week, so we had to send him off to a different part of for whatever reason they didn't have the big horn.
Okay.
And so he brought his own horn in, and I swear to God, this horn is louder than the big horn. And he's blowing it right beside me, and I'm going, "Yeah, dude, it's like, you know what? I'll bet you those guys right over there would love you blowing that horn."
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you guys, Chester, unfortunately, you're going to fall in the power rankings, which I'm sure you're aware of. But we were talking with Clarkie. Cambridge is at number 1, no change. Elmira, now this is going back November 16th. So there's going to be a big change tomorrow morning on November 25th. But you've got Cambridge at number 1. Elmira was at number 2. Chatham was at 3. St. Catharines was 4. You guys were at 5. And Stratford was at 6. And I can see a role reversal happening there. But in the point standings, Chatham's first in the West with 39. Elmira's second with 37. You guys have 30 points. London has 30, and then Stratford's in 5th with 29. But Stratford has 5 games in hand on Chatham, so and 3 on you guys. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be good. I hope you guys pull off the W, just like my Michigan Wolverines do on Saturday. So I'm going to be rooting for you. But
That's
Yeah,
good.
definitely. You guys only have the one game on the weekend. You got Saturday and Sunday off, which will be nice to.
Yeah, and then we get to celebrate American Thanksgiving, so we're gonna have a little second kick at the turkeys at this house here. So
Night. Well,
looking
because you
forward to
have
that.
the American defenseman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Camden is here with us, so
nice.
he's not going home for the weekend. Sounds like his parents might come down,
Oh,
so
great.
we'll have a little celebration here for that. So before I go, I do want to mention something.
Sure.
Um, Big shout out to Ryan Hodgkinson. He lost his dad last week unexpectedly, and Ryan played both games for the Lynx on the weekend. And you know, our thoughts are with him for sure.
Absolutely.
For us here in St. Mary's, John was a great guy. He did a lot for the community. Did a lot for St. Mary's minor hockey. He was a scheduler for years. He was on the executive. So our thoughts are with Jessica, Logan, Ryan, Emma, for the loss of their dad. And he'll be greatly missed in St. Mary's, involved in soccer as well. And super nice guy to talk to. Great dad, great hockey fan, very level-headed guy. And lots of people in St. Mary's are thinking about John right now. So I just wanted to get on here and say that, a little tribute to John, as he will be missed in St. Mary's.
Yeah, thanks for that. And from all the guys on Unmuzzled Sports Podcast, our condolences to the Hodgkinson family as well. So thanks for that, Chester.
All right. Hey, no problem. No problem.
Chris Chessel for the Lincoln's Insider. Chester, best of luck on the game Friday night, and look forward to seeing you next week, brother.
Yeah, get there early, Halser. You get your spot, because it's going to be a full house, I think.
I'll be there.
All right, buddy. See you there. See you
All
guys.
right.
Have a good week.
Cheers.
Go Blue.
All right. We'll be back with Dave Graff with Chew on That.
Chew on That with Graffer. Brought to you by Work Pub and Eatery. Get a taste of tradition and charm in our family-run pub. From hearty dishes to cold drinks, we've got everything to make your visit memorable. Located at 75 Wellington Street, Stratford.
Fellas,
Dave Graff is in the house.
how's it going tonight, fellas?
Good. Yourself?
Good.
See, you found your razor.
Yeah, I found all shaved up for tonight. I got the Leaf hoodie on, all ready to talk hockey.
Love it.
Razor, I love that background with the gold blue there. That must have been a game
yeah.
from 15, 20 years ago?
It was 14 years ago, 2011.
There you go.
Yep.
Nice.
We all went down to, I had never been to the big house before, and I found out in a hurry why they call it the big house. 114,000 people. Yeah. And every year it's on the American Thanksgiving weekend. And so with them alternating it, we picked a year when it was in Michigan, but it was intense. I had never seen anything like it before. Like I've been to many sporting events where, the team you hate is in town, but this took it to a different level. I was telling the guys earlier, my buddy there in the red jersey, that's a Team Canada jersey. He was promoting Team Canada. Well, from behind, everybody thought it was an OSU shirt. So they were all heckling us, and we're like, going, no, it's
that's got to be Simone Gagner, is it?
Yeah.
12?
It could be, yeah.
Back at that time.
But great time. Highly recommend it. I wouldn't be able to afford to go to it today. Like I can only imagine what a ticket would cost, but I know back then they were about $250 American, and we were about 15 rows up in the one end zone. They were great seats, so probably double or triple that now.
Yeah.
But
is it in Michigan this Saturday or
it is in Michigan?
It's in Michigan. Yeah.
Yeah, they're 10.5-point underdogs. They upset Ohio State. They're on a 5-game win streak with Ohio State. They upset them last year at the Horseshoe in Ohio. They were 19.5-point underdogs, and they beat them 13-10. So, yeah. But big game. So, what do you got going on with Nazem Kadri?
Well, I just figured it was due for a guy like Nazem. For those that don't know out there, he became the 411th player in National League history to reach 1,000 games a few weeks back, November 5th, I believe. And, you know, it's not that big a deal. 411 guys have done it, but just I wanted to give the shout out to Nazem and kudos to Nazem because, you know what, I myself was not I'm a Leaf fan. I was not a huge fan of his. I liked the way he played until he kind of went over the edge a few times, and we'll get to that. But I think he deserves a real pat on the back for how he's navigated his career. And I think tying the family part into it is real huge here. And for the obvious reason is, you know, he's the first Muslim ever to win the Stanley Cup in 22 with the Avalanche. And, you know, his grandfather brought his dad and siblings over in the 60s when his dad was a young lad. So, you know, when they worked 2 jobs, his dad couldn't afford to play, you know, so he always wanted his kid to play, wanted Nazem to play. Only son of 5 kids, 4 girls. You can imagine that household. Maybe that's why Nazem was the way he was for the first while, coming out of a home with 4 sisters. But anyway, you know, he, you know, the old man worked a couple jobs so Nazem could play. Played minor hockey in London there with the junior Knights, and then with Kitchener in London. Lost the Memorial Cup final to Spokane with Kitchener in 08, and actually was cut on the 09 junior team. He had he was a shoe-in to make it early on in the year. You know how they throw names out and guys that are shoe-ins once December camp comes for the 09 squad. And Pat Quinn ended up cutting him because he didn't have a real great fall in the 09-10 year. So it was quite a blow to him, but he bounced back and he played on the team in 2-10, and they lost in the finals there, but he had 8 points in 6 games, had a good tournament. So he had the regular goal as a top junior player and had to work hard to do it. Wasn't, you know, very good skater, as we know, and he's got some speed, got some hands, but he's got to work and practice. He does, you know, he worked hard at it. So drafted 7th overall in 09 by the Leafs, as we know. First 3 years or so, he bounced back and forth, and that was some immaturity, you know, some differences with, I think Berkey really liked him at the time, but I'm not sure. Was it Ronnie Wilson there or maybe Carlisle? I can't remember who was there at the time, but I think there was a little bit of growing up to do.
Sounds like I was just reading when you told me what the topic was going to be. I tried doing some research, and I didn't realize that the Leafs tried toning him down. They tried to change his attitude. They thought he was too boisterous. Yeah,
volatile, whatever the word is, right?
Yeah.
Just that, yeah.
And so I didn't realize that. And that, like, obviously you want to do anything to play for your favorite team, the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Exactly.
But that ended up changing his style of play.
Right, yeah. No, I agree. And, you know, it's unfortunate. And the other thing to that, Razor, is I like that you brought up the Leafs, her favorite team. The grandpa and the dad actually were Hab fans.
I saw that. The dad liked Habs colors or something.
Yes. And so ironically, both dad and grandpa were there for that draft in Montreal when he went 7th overall to the Leafs. So it was quite the thing for those guys, you know, because they were Rocket Richard fans and Guy Lafleur and John Beliveau and, you know, all the Hab guys. So it was quite the thing. So, you know, he got 325 points in a Leaf jersey between 212 and 219. And came up to stay, I think, in 213 or 14 after bouncing around a little bit for the first few years. And then just call it unluck, call it just the fuse went off a few times with some ill-advised hits there against Boston in the 18-19 first rounds.
Back-to-back playoffs. Had a couple of suspensions.
Yes, really crippled his team, you know, and just I don't think his teammates thought that. And it's funny because around that time, one of those summers he got married, all the Leaf teammates were there, Willie and Marner and all those guys. Like, he's still to this day buds with all them. So there wasn't that tension. He was one of the guys, they got along great, but just ill-advised bad timing on those suspensions, right? It really crippled his team somewhat.
Dubas basically just wrote him off, basically wanted to get rid of him.
So you say that, and he gave up him and Rosen and a 3rd rounder for Barry, Kerfoot, and a 6th.
Right.
And we all know what Barry turned out to be.
Right.
Not good.
Yeah.
Right? Barry left the snow shovel in fucking Edmonton.
Yes.
Came east and had no freaking desire to muck it up in Toronto. Like, come on. Like, that was and, you know, Nazem goes to Colorado. And you know what? give Nazem credit, but at the same time, you got to bring up that he was able to slide in behind McKinnon.
That's right.
He didn't have to be that guy, but he quietly puts up 80 or so points. You know, they win the cup. Like I said, the first Muslim to win the cup in 22 when they beat Tampa.
Yeah.
You know, and he broke his hand and was out for 2 weeks in those playoffs. And I got this. I read his book here earlier this year. I don't know if you can see it, but Nazem Kadri, probably can't see it here, but anyways, Nazem Kadri Dreamer, it's called, and I read it earlier this year, ironically. And you know, he came back in 14 days and played with that all bandaged up hand or whatever, and still contributed, and they won the Stanley Cup. You can see him. In fact, I think it's in this picture that you can see behind me. I'm not sure, but he's shaking hands in the Stanley Cup line, and you can see the hand all bandaged up. So, yeah, so
I thought it was interesting where you know, in the book, when I didn't realize or remember it, but he collided with Jordan Binnington in the second round, the goalie for St. Louis.
Yeah.
And he received death threats. And
You're
all
right.
the racism, like the Denver police had to go by and protect his house.
Yes, they went to his house.
He was getting death threats.
Death threats and bomb threats, yeah. Crazy, eh? Crazy.
Like crazy.
Yes.
Just crazy. So
the middle of the USA, hey, redneck Missouri, right? Like, I don't want to stereotype, but
you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but with him being able to fly, you go from the number one hockey media spotlight in Toronto to now you're the number 4 team in Denver, right?
Yeah.
Like you're on page 3 in Denver, right? Until they get into the Stanley Cup and you know, the playoffs and all of that, and the other teams are out, but they're not the number 1, you know, talk about team in Colorado, right? No. With
they'll be 3A and 3B with the Rockies baseball team probably, but definitely behind football and
absolutely. Basketball and football are 1-2 for sure, right? So
for sure.
But
so that's really all I got. I just wanted to give kudos to Nazem. He signed the 7-year, $49 million deal. Good for him in August of 22 with Calgary. You know, and they're, you know, he might be looked at as one of their big guys there with Huberdeau, and I'm not sure if he's meant for that role. And that's maybe reflected in the fact that Calgary struggled for a few years now, not putting that on Nazem. I saw them play live actually this year at the Scotiabank.
Okay.
Back when I went down to watch a couple of the
Jays?
The Jays games on the big screen or whatever. What do you call that? The crowd they had there. Anyways, watch party.
Yeah.
Yvonne and I went to the.
You were on Global News. You were a celebrity.
That's right. The next day I was on Global News. But anyways, watching Kadri that night, I enjoyed watching him. He's not a perimeter player. He gets involved and he leads that team.
And that's the sort of guy the Leafs are trying to get now.
He would be perfect, right? In that 5-6 spot on that second line.
Oh my God! Yes, he is exactly. He's like, you know, a Darcy Tucker, like a guy that just is sandpaper. David Boland, like
gets a few more points.
They had him, and they let him get away, right? And at $7 million, he's a bargain. He's a steal.
Yeah, come in and slide behind Matthews on that second line if the Leafs ever get healthy.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I got to reference a Youngblood line here, the old hockey movie from the mid '80s, and one line always sticks out to me where and Kadri reminds me of Youngblood at this point because the older brother's dropping Youngblood off of the Mustangs Arena in Hamilton, and he says, "Don't let any of them." I don't know the exact words, but he says, "Don't let any of those crazy Canucks, whatever," right? And Youngblood turns to him and says, he says, "They'll never catch me." And his brother says, "Oh, they'll catch you," right? And, you know, it reminds me of Kadri, that kid that all piss and vigor, could fly, came out like was always the guy. And, you know, they caught him. Life caught up to him in the way that the pro game caught up to him.
Yeah.
And he's adjusted. I give him credit. He's adjusted well, carved out a nice career. He plays 4-5. I know he's 34. I think he's a 91, so he's 34 years old. He's probably, you know, if he goes to 38, if he gets 3 or 4 more years in there, he might get 1,000 points. I think he's at 7 and change now. He's got way more points, 370 something since he left Toronto. So he's in the 700s. Does he get to 1,000 points? Does he get to the fringe of the Hall of Fame talk? Probably not, but you never know. Something to chew on anyways. I I doubt it, but it depends how long he lasts, I guess. If he carves out another 300-400 points and, another 500 games, who knows? But he's already out over 1,000, so odds
It's a
are
great career.
Yep.
And,
Hey,
and I don't
I got a
know
little,
if sorry, go ahead, Shanker.
Go ahead, Shanker.
I got a little info. I don't know if you can see this. It's the North London Classic tournament for the minor hockey.
Oh yeah,
He
is that
runs.
the Rebels?
He's been no, the North London National. He's been running
Okay.
that tournament since 2018.
That's awesome.
And my son played in it in 2021, and the free stuff he gave every team for showing up, MVPs of the game, is something else. So he's giving back to North London hockey every year, and it's still going on.
Perfect. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, two of the biggest donors in London hospital care history are Eric Lindros and Nazem Kadri. I had rotator cuff surgery in February, and when they told me where it was going to be, you're at the Nazem Kadri building, and I'm thinking, what is it going to be? Like something like we're first choice haircutters? Like I had no idea, right? I show up, and it's like a 6-story building across the street from Health Sciences Center. And it is, the whole building is named after Kadri. So I don't know how many zeros he gave, but he gave a lot of money. If you're getting a whole building named after you, and they've got his picture all over the hallways. And so I thought that was pretty cool of him to give back to London. Now, I was told by the nurses that he had surgery done there. It was with the Fowler Kennedy Clinic.
Right.
And so he had surgery done on him, like Rob Blake, Iserman, all the big sports guys. I don't know what I was doing there, but
well, hey, at least it wasn't get a rotator cuff done and a free haircut at the same time.
Right? Exactly.
Razor gets a discount on his haircuts these days.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
It's been a while since I had to carry a comb, so
yeah, fair enough. But hey, shout out to Nazem Kadri. Well done, great career.
Excellent.
Just something to think about. But shout out to him. And you know what? I did forget one thing. The best part of it all was, and this is what got me on to want to talk about it a few weeks ago, but I ended up talking about some football and other stuff, baseball. But his daughter, I think she might be 3 or 4. She read out the lineup sitting on the floor in the middle of the dressing room.
Cool.
For the 1,000th game. Yeah. So that's kind of
awesome.
neat. Like kind of a full circle family thing with him, right? With Grandpa coming over from Lebanon and, all the way to 60 years later, and his little daughter's reading out his 1,000th game lineup. So good stuff.
That's awesome.
And good for
awesome.
Nazem. Hey, Nazem would love a pint and a bite to eat at work as well. Thanks to 40 and the boys.
Absolutely.
Thanks to
40. All right, Graffer. Thanks as always. And go Leafs, go. They can only go up from here.
They can only go up. That's right. That's right. Thanks, guys.
All right, Dave Graff, we'll chew on that.
We'll
be back with some sponsors and a few last words. Thanks, Graffer.
Thanks, guys.
Railside Organics, Stratford's first and only Indigenous-owned and operated organic dispensary, located at 29 Monteith Avenue, serving those in need with holistic remedies. Come say hi to Curly and his staff and see why everyone is recommending Railside Organics. Call Bick Heating and Cooling for all your heating, cooling, and plumbing needs. Proud Rude Pro partner. BickHeatCool.com or 226-921-4848. Your home team specialists. Taking care of Stratford and area since 2013. Vreda Veld Painting. Servicing Stratford and surrounding area. With over 20 years of experience to help you with all your painting and decorating needs. On time and on budget.
All right, another great show, fellas. Shanker, any final words?
I got 2 shout-outs here. The first one is the Toronto Raptors. They are 12-5 this year. They are 3 games behind the Pistons, which is crazy. So 2 doormats the last few years are actually kicking ass early. And my second shout-out goes out to the OHL Brantford Bulldogs. 18-0 in 23 games. And they
Wow.
just made a huge trade today, I saw. So Jay McKee, former NHLer, has the Bulldogs flying.
Nice. Halzer, any last words?
Well, I just fun fact: my niece got married in Nazem Kadri's cottage. He's got a cottage about a few miles east of Goderich. I can't remember exactly where it was, but it's right on the beach, and so beautiful place. Man, that's a sweet ass house he's got there, right on the coast of the lake. And yeah, my niece got married there 3 years ago now. So shout out to Nazem. Not only had a good career, but he's got a sweet ass cottage too.
Nice. There you go. All right, guys. Well, make sure you're watching Michigan take on OSU on Saturday. Look forward to talking about the upset win on next week's podcast. For Ian Schenk and Brian Hawley, I'm Gary Ray. Thanks for tuning in to the Unmuzzled Sports Podcast.